I will call this to order. Mouth doesn't like hear me clearly.
Yeah, you're good.
Who's Tiffany? Oh, okay. I'll call this to order at 12:39 p.m. And I will start with a territorial acknowledgement. I respectfully acknowledge that the SFSS is located on the traditional and ceded territories of the Coast Salish peoples, including the Musqueam, Squamish, Solitude, Coquitlam, and Catsi nations. Unceded means these territories have never been handed over, sold, or given up by these nations, and we're currently situated on occupied territories. I will start with a roll call attendance. VP Finance.
Yeah, pronouns she, her, access needs are met.
Thank you. VP External sends regrets. Thank you. VP Equity.
Pronouns she, her, access needs are met.
Thank you. Events, I believe, also send regrets, might be in later through the meeting. VP University also send regrets. VP Internal. Thank you. Operations Manager.
Cindy, she, her, pronouns, access needs are met.
Thank you. Admin Assistant. Thank you. Guest.
My name is Henry. Pronoun TM is accents are just fine.
Ariana, pronoun she, her, all needs met.
Thank you. Tiffany.
Hi, everybody. My name is Tiffany. Pronouns are she, her, all access needs are met.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay. Moving on to consent agenda, we resolved to adopt the consent agenda by unanimous consent. We just have the two, I believe, previous executive meetings. Any changes or amendments to this? Okay. Seeing none, I'm going to seek unanimous consent. If you wish to abstain or dissent, please signify. Seeing none, those are carried unanimously. Moving on to the adoption of the agenda. We resolve to adopt the agenda as presented. I move. I'm going to second that. Internal seconds. Floor is open for amendments and lists. Yes. Go ahead.
Sorry. I'd like to amend on a presentation and a motion. The presentation is titled SFSS, and the motion is, if you give me a second, I will put it up. I will send a motion to Rian and
Okay. Do you want to read it?
Yes, the motion is whereas grant number 2053 was approved for $2,050, whereas staff appealed the grant to the executive committee, be resolved to approve up to X in grant funding from line item X.
Okay. I'm guessing you moved. I second. Anyone opposed to the amendment? Sorry, just two amendments, correct? The presentation. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyone opposed? Okay. Seeing none, that is carried unanimously. Any other lists and amendments?
I believe there's some amendments from people not here.
Right.
I had
Um,
one that I typed in, I listed in chat.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Okay, I'm gonna just paste it here. But I don't have the line items. Wait 1 second.
Sorry, say that again.
I didn't find the line item, but
Also, Emmanuel, do you want me to talk about the loan agreement stuff in the council meeting?
Yes, you'd have to amend it as a NCAM.
Okay.
Chloe, did you want to read that?
yes, I can. This was kind of requested by our VP events. This is called Communications Media Kit, whereas our society produces multiple forms of photo and video content to promote our services and events. Whereas we do not currently have any equipment to produce this media, be it resolved to pass up to $1,200 from the communications line item to purchase equipment like a camera, mics, etc.
Thank you. Yes, and you move. I
Yes.
second. Anyone opposed to the amendment? Okay, seeing none. That is carried unanimously. I will also list, and then Simmer, I'll take your list, amendments on behalf of VP University, discussion item, council social. I move, and the seconder.
I second. Can I seek a friendly amendment for the council social one to move it up to the top of the agenda, just in respect to the AVP University's time with a final coming up?
Yeah. Okay. Anyone opposed to the amendments? Seeing none, that is carried unanimously. Simmer, go ahead.
Sorry, it always takes a second to unmute. Is it okay for the AVPs to be in the meeting regarding the loan agreement?
It's gonna be an in-cam, so they'll be gone by then.
Oh, okay, sorry. Okay, yeah, I just wanted to add a discussion item in CAM regarding the operating loan agreement.
Okay, I'm guessing you move.
Oh yeah, I move. I need a seconder.
I second.
Thank you.
Anyone opposed? Actually, now that I think of it, we all already know the people that are going to be in camp.
Yeah, that's why I didn't really want to bring it up, because the only person who I thought would need
She
extra
was
information
not-
was Joel,
yeah.
who's not here.
Actually, yeah. Do you mind retracting?
Yeah, I can retract that. My only question is, do we have to announce the council meeting? That's the only announcement that I think needs to be made.
Yeah, I could just announce that at the end of this meeting, but I just need to send an email to call
Okay,
it.
no worries. All right, I retract my discussion item.
Thank you.
And amend.
I have a docking station for VP events. Where's the motion to add? Whereas the VP events requires a docking station to facilitate their work, is not comfortable using Windows in the office, whereas the purchase of this equipment is necessary to improve work efficiency and comfort, be resolved to approve up to $100 from the office supplies line item 720/20.
Guessing you move.
Move.
I will second. Anyone opposed to the amendment? Seeing none, amendment is carried. Any other lists or amendments? Okay. Seeing none, I'm gonna seek unanimous consent to adopt the agenda as amended. Okay, seeing no dissents, that is carried unanimously. Moving on to would be presentations, but I think your discussion item you could put first.
So budget for council social, so we wanted to bring it up and kind of about what you guys had in mind for council social, what our budget was.
Sorry, I don't know if the mic's muffled, but we can't hear
Sorry.
anything online.
Yeah.
There's also provisions for representatives from each constituency group, which includes constituency groups in the future. I understand.
What does it say? Well, they would have the outside space, the like main door.
Yeah.
Yeah. They just wouldn't be able to go into the bar if there's no.
It should be,
Mhm.
like, including that, it should be.
Okay. So yeah, let's promote 6 to 7. Sorry, 6 to 10.
10.
In terms of food, we would, at least I was thinking Mex, but DP event suggested we could also do something external.
Mhm.
My concern with external is that okay, and I'm gonna switch to my mic. This is better simmer. But in terms of external catering, I think it's the issue is that we won't have servers, and I don't think we have anyone internally that would be able to serve. So I think that's why I wanted to go with Next, because they usually provide the server and also the leader. We could also make it like, so if we want to do that, I personally don't have any specific external in mind, and I feel like yes, that was why I switched over. Yeah, my but yeah, those I want to get you guys' thoughts. Like, do you think we should go through MEX, or VP events suggested doing something external in terms of getting better food because they didn't trust MEX food? Yeah.
Are we going to like a sit down dinner, or would you like appies and like move around? Like,
I think there should be a sit down dinner like later on in the night. I think the vision that I think I kind of had was like the night would start off with like, because this is only for counselors. So the night would start off with maybe execs just introducing themselves, giving addresses at the start, and then there should be like interactive games and whatever you guys come up with. And then prizes at some point, maybe at the entrance, you give out a raffle ticket or whatever it is. And then I think you should build in like a networking session in there as well, where people are able to move around and have that informal interaction. And then I think after that, then there would be like a sit down dinner. So I would say at the start, there should be appetizers that people could get while we're getting ready. And then later on, there should be a sit down dinner closer to the end. And then I was hoping that we could also do some vision casting at maybe right after food or right before food, whatever you guys plan that to look like. But because we have a lot of big projects that we want to do this year, and we're open to looping counselors as we go through that. So I'm hoping that we could share some ideas with council at this event as well, and see how they could support, especially referendums and those things. So that's sort of the vision. So I guess there would be like appies at the start and then a sit down dinner later on.
Something I did for another event, we probably need a driver. We did pasta for women in science, but it was $5 per person, which is not bad for pasta. Everyone enjoyed it, and Sam, you can drop in your thoughts.
Just a buffet style collection of food, but in terms of like cost per person, it was extremely affordable, and all we would need is like one person to realistically go get it on the day.
And they also provide all the cutlery, plates, and napkins. So.
Okay.
But I think it is a viable option. And
then is it just the pasta, or do they provide other things like?
They have a full menu. You can send it to you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that sounds good to me. I'm sure we'll probably just need to verify like food safe and all that stuff. And I guess people could serve themselves then. Okay.
Exactly,
yeah, I think we're probably expecting, I don't know how many active counselors we have right now, like 40.
Yep.
Yeah. So we're expecting 40 to 50 people, including execs. I think we will also have it open to AVPs if they wanted to. So yeah, but I would say like 40 to 60, somewhere around there.
And so the big question is dress code and budget.
Dress code we said was formal. Budget, that's where I wanted to ask Cindy. We were thinking it would come from council expenditures, but then that seems like that line item is for a different purpose from what we discussed last couple of meetings ago.
It's like a retreat conference.
Actually, yeah, I think we could use that. I don't know how much we have left in there, but how much is the total? Do you know? Simmer, do you know how much the total is in the conferences line item? 10K. I think we roughly have used.
Sorry, I was muted, but it was 10K. But I think we were thinking to allocate that throughout the year for like top ups potentially?
No, that's for council expenditure.
Okay, which line item do you want to pull this out of?
Conferences.
Okay, 1 second. Let me just try and pull that up.
I believe we've spent less than 5,000 from that line item. Because this is a different line item than
Yeah, I only have it on my
retreat, right?
phone right now. Cindy, would you be able to pull that up?
Or is it the same one?
The retreat conferences. Conferences is different from retreat, but conferences is 5K.
I would say the retreat one is the one that we should take it from, because it's that would be the purpose around similar purpose, right?
How much is is the conference and retreat two separate line items?
Yes.
How much is
No.
Oh,
Yes, it is. Sorry. Retreat orientation development. That's the line item I would recommend taking it from. So that's
how much is that?
there's 10K in there.
And then how much is conferences?
Conferences is 5K.
Okay.
Spent about 4K if that right.
About 4K
of the conferences line item.
Yeah. So this one I would say retreat orientation development.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. On your end, how much do you think the food part will cost?
Less than 1,000.
Okay.
Ideally around 500 to 600.
Okay. We are also thinking to do a mix. Wait, could we bring our own drinks? Like buy our own drinks?
Depends, like regular drink.
Yeah, like
yeah.
okay. Like pop and
You just can't mix and
so like you have to do like your own.
Yeah.
Like if we do our own like if we bring in our own drinks, we cannot get mix as well. Okay. Because we wanted to do like a cash bar, like give people the option to get drinks if they wanted to. But that means we'd also need to get regular drinks through mix. What do you guys think? Do you think we should have that option for people that want to drink to have a cash bar?
Honestly, I think that the exact amount allocated, Simmer can talk to Ariana about it later today, early next week, or reissue about it. And then once we get a confirmed amount based on that and how much we want to spend, how much we're planning to like budget for later on in the year for the retreat line item, then the rest of it can just be done through the UAA office. We don't need to, I think we're pretty close to like those final like decisions can be done through UAA. We don't have to bring it up. I'm like, I think we're done talking. We don't need to talk anymore here about it. They can make that decision.
Okay. Yeah, I think you have everything you need from us, correct?
Pretty much. The only thing I want to clarify is if we even get outside catering, it's just the mix. We can't mix the two kinds of drinks, or can we still mix the food?
I think you could still get food, correct?
if you get drinks,
Yeah.
it's just that you have to go fully through max.
Oh, so like if you use
You have to do mix as well then.
I see.
We'll stay away from that then.
Okay, so if we get drinks from Max, you cannot get food from external.
That's fine.
Interesting. Okay, maybe that's some. Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, but when we put the booking request in, the bookings coordinator and the events coordinator will work with you to
Yeah.
like figure out the catering pieces and make recommendations.
Yeah, I think maybe evaluate those two options. Look at what Max has, and see if it's just a better option to go with the external and just get our own drinks or whatever.
The external is really good.
Yeah.
And also good. It's formal, but it's not too much. So I would kind of steer away if we're trying to keep it more like networking, actual development.
Right.
Kind of photo booths though.
Yes, that too.
Yeah.
And then does the external also do like appies and
I think they do, yeah.
Okay,
But I don't know if they'd be able to, because they'd bring it, we have to go get it at the same time.
Mhm.
Because what we did last time was, because they don't do delivery to our area, but I have a contact through there. They were able to arrange a special delivery for us.
Okay.
but they wouldn't be able to do it like twice throughout the day. So at least
Okay.
one of it would have to be us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, maybe look into that and see how that could work.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We can try Abby's from somewhere else as well. Do some research and I can make a plan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else you need from us, or is that it?
No, but when do you want details finalized by? You let me know.
I mean, if we want to do the 27th, I think that's kind of really up to you guys. I think the bookings team just need to know that we're locked in, and they need, I believe, a floor plan. And if you're gonna go through MEX, I believe those are the two final details they need.
Yeah, and then if you have any quotes or anything for us, bringing it back to exec just to.
Do we also have a celiac save option, or is it anyone who is celiac? Do we know?
We do not know.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say maybe you could have Rishu send out an email to council for like an interest form to get like the food. Yes, that's right.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that with just an RSVP, so we know who's coming.
Right. Yeah, that would be good if you guys like that one should go out ASAP as soon as possible.
That's all I know.
Awesome. Well, thank you for stopping by. Best of luck on your exam.
Okay, great. I think even just over here.
Okay. I will move on to presentation. So the floor is yours. Let me know if you need to share anything or
Just unmute.
let me use your mic.
I'm pretty sure I can share. Let me check. Huh?
Do you need like to share your screen?
Yeah. But I think I can do it though, so it's fine.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, Tiffany, you ready?
Yep, already.
Well, I'm just gonna increase my volume. Can you say that again? I couldn't hear anything.
Hello.
Okay. I'm just gonna introduce myself. Hi, everyone. My name is Henry. I'm the SAS president. I just want to preface beforehand that I stand on council as the CSA counselor, but I got approval from my DSU as well as my president to speak on this today. I also want to say that any questions or any concerns, please bring it up at the end of the presentation. And that's all from me.
Hello, everybody. I'm Tiffany, and I am this year's SAS VP Administration. I'll be presenting this issue alongside Henry today about FastFest 2024.
So what we will be talking today is event overview. So the who, what, where, when, and why of FastFest, venue and floor plan, on the space usage, our budget, revenue and expenses, safety and accessibility, and questions at the end. So starting off with the event overview. So who is going to be conducting this event, as well as who will be focusing our audience? So it would be the SAS executives alongside many FAST DSUs like Hive mentors, as well as DSU executives, and plus volunteers if needed. This will be geared towards first year FAST students, but this is open to all SFU students, but there is a priority to them. So like Hive 101 or like Cubs Day, they will get the bounce link before anyone else. And if we see there's a stagnant where we see that there's no more signups, we will then open the link to the SFU general membership. When we plan to host this September 21st, 2024, from 10:30 a.m. to 7 p.m. What does this event entails will be also described later on in the presentation, but it's basically a first year orientation event, building community engagement and networking. Why? Well, clearly it says community engagement, but as the Faculty Student Union, we want to provide something for first-year FAST students to really get involved in university, have something to remember getting into the first year. And where will this event take place? It will take place mainly on SFU Burnaby campus and like the whole campus, as well as sub ballroom. Timeline day of the event. So we plan to set up at 10:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. That's the general time we need to set up the ballroom, get everyone ready. From 11 a.m. to 12 p.m., we will check in. So check everyone's bounce tickets and everything like that, making sure that everyone's on time and volunteers. From 12 to 2, we will create introductions, acknowledge the land, eat lunch with profs. That's when we'll have our first meal of the day. From 2 to 4, we'll do a bingo scavenger hunt. So how that will work is, let's say we'll have a bingo sheet that says, oh, go take a picture with the avocado, or go find one BD student. Something that's not material, where we don't have to leave anything behind, or someone can have to go find something. So it basically makes no cleanup, and they will be chaperoned by volunteer and or DSU or SAS exec to make sure that they don't go to any place that they shouldn't go to, or if they get injured, or to make sure that they're not too noisy, right? So we'll keep them safe there. For student panel, from 4 to 5, we'll have students like-minded, like SAS execs and or students in FAST to speak up about issues that may be present within first years. That's the time that they can ask questions like, hey, how does course selection go? Like, what do you feel about taking 4 courses, 5 courses? Is a time that they can discuss with their peers instead of discussing with, let's say, administration that they don't feel comfortable with. From 5 to 6:30, that's when we will have our last meal of the day. We will convert the sub ballroom into dance. And then from then, we'll also have closing ceremonies where we will announce prizes. And then from 6:30 to 7 p.m., that's when we will clean up. So we are giving ourselves about half an hour-ish to clean up, since we don't have much to clean up other than the sub ballroom. And then here are pictures from previous Fast Frenzy. As you can see, it was really engaging, really fun for first years, as well as SFU general membership. And
yeah, so I'm going to be talking about the venue and floor plan. Thank you, Henry, for that introduction. You can go on to the next slide. So this floor plan was also approved by the sub via Shelley, and she helped us craft out this floor plan for 120 participants. So that's going to be 100 attendees, or yeah, you can think of them as like Rosh participants. And then the other 20 will be volunteer leaders. So that's going to consist of the SAS executive board, as well as any other volunteers such as DSU leaders, and we'll probably put out a call out for general membership of FAST to come join us as well. We can move on to budget. All right, so this is the meat and bones of our presentation. You can go on to the next slide. So today we are seeking $5,000 from the SFSS Executive Committee team to approve. This is coming from a budget of $7,000. And our original grant did have an attendee size of 120, and then an extra 30 volunteer leaders on top. We've decided to scale down a little bit just to accommodate for several different costs, mostly lunch and dinner. This is a whole day event, so we wanted to provide attendees and leaders with the opportunity to grab some food and eat throughout the day, whether it's engaging with the professors at lunch or dinner, networking amongst themselves. Yeah, in previous years of Fast Fest, it's also been called Fast Frenzy. I'm sure there's other names for it as well, but there have been iterations of this event that has included a bouncy castle or an improv show. We're not doing anything fancy this year. This year is just solely, hey, we want to do an engagement event We want students to have fun. And the scavenger hunt, as Henry mentioned, this is going to be just something to orient students. It'll consist of locations throughout campus that will show students where things are, other resources that may be necessary for them to engage in their first year with SFU life and community. Yeah, and then everything else will just be decorations and prizes and other resources that are necessary for volunteer leaders. Ticket sales, we're planning to do it through this platform called Bounce. It is significantly cheaper in terms of processing fees than Eventbrite. But otherwise, we're going to be selling tickets for $10 a piece for attendees. This is without tax or that processing fee. And then for SAS core funding, we are also ready to allocate $1,000 for our own purposes as well. So yeah, just $5,000 today from the SFSS team. All right, we can move on to safety and accessibility now.
I'll be speaking on safety and accessibility. So how will we be keeping everyone safe as well as the environment? So one thing is for transportation, we made sure that our event does not prolong into the night because we understand that it's September, it gets dark quick, as well as the buses don't run. So one thing is the event will probably end around 6:30 to 7. The last bus, as you can see, because 144, 145, R5, they all run throughout the night, but people who take the 143, they can still catch the last bus at 7:30, 7:32, 7:54, right? And then guests will be responsible for getting to the event and having their own means of transportation leaving the event. But what it means by leaders would escort to appropriate location is we understand that it may be dark. So if their parents are picking them up from the pickup zone or any bus loop, then volunteers and leaders are still around, so we can help safely escort them to the appropriate locations. Accessibility, wheelchair-friendly event is open to all SFU students after the stagnant, of course. And for food, the reason why food on the budget chart is kind of a bit high is because not only did Tiffany say that we want to make sure that everyone's fed, but also because the food option that we're planning to go with accounts for many dietary restrictions, right? And so when people sign up for the bounce, right, they can have a section where they can list off their dietary restrictions and the food is customizable. So it's not just, oh, pizza, it's just like this. So we can order it to their liking as well. Liability, in the sub, close to help, media consent, safety waivers. So basically when they sign up to buy a ticket, there will be a safety waiver in there already, as well as our leaders and our execs will be trained in SVSPO training, as well as any food safe certification if needed. And then that's all that we have today. Any questions from the executive team?
Well, thank you, Gus. Sam, go ahead. Just want to first list and say I made a mistake in bringing the grant to the executive committee. It was supposed to go through a appeal process through staff before coming to us. However, it would have come to us in the end, as there was no council meeting for us to be reviewed at. I still think we should evaluate the grant as, otherwise it would pretty much just be us evaluating the grant next week instead. But I want to point that out just for everyone's reference.
Thank you. We go back to the budget. 4,800 is a bit too much for 100 people, lunch and dinner. Where do you think where are you buying the food from?
Tiff?
So this is coming from $20 allocated towards lunch and dinner. I'm looking to get good deals from either Domino's Pizza or Steve's Poke, and I'm sure the cost will be going all the way down. This is just the maximum that I foresee, but costs are definitely probably going to be less.
Yeah, I would suggest Papa John's gives us a 25% off for our club events and everything. So that would be a good start for pizza if you guys are looking for. In terms of sponsorship, I would suggest reaching out to Cater Dash. They've been sponsoring multiple of our events. I can give you their contact.
We also looked at Cater Dash as well. Henry and one of our other execs have reached out to them. So that's a good, good thing to look out for. Thank you.
Yeah, I can speak on this, whereas this 4,800 is the maximum that Tiffany foresaw. And then the thing is, we are already in talks with Cater Dash. We already have the agreement. It's just that we just we have to host another meeting, do another meeting with them, since on their agreement they said that any event catering will be exclusively done with them. Whereas we want to change it where if we want to work with dining hall or any other catering company, then we have the option to. We don't want to be locked into one thing because we don't want to put all our eggs in one basket. But we are already in talks with them.
So they're giving you an agreement that all your events for the year are gonna be them.
Yeah, exclusively.
Okay, and has that went through staff yet, or it's just reviewed by you right now?
No, it's being reviewed right now, and then we'll present it to staff because we are not sure yet if we want to proceed.
Okay, that makes sense. And what are the $500 prizes that you're proposing over here?
Tiff, would you like to speak on that? Okay, I'll speak on it. So basically, the $500 prizes are just like we're thinking about doing 3 large prizes just as a thank you, giving back. So the thing is, when they enter in like the bounce ticket, they're already entering the prizes anyways, right?
Okay.
And it's also an incentive to make them. Well, it's gonna be fun, but basically another incentive to stay the whole time. And then so when they're in the closing ceremonies, we'll read off their names.
Okay.
But that's the maximum allocation that we're gonna spend towards the prizes.
Okay, I would still suggest 500 is a bit too much, and going handcrafted or getting your own supplies and making baskets would go way cheaper. Yeah, that's just it on my end on expense side. If you guys are able to look better into sponsorships and putting things together yourselves, I think it should be fine.
A lot of this is already done by crafts, since the food, the merch, we already have plates, spoons, forks that are already in storage. So we're not getting more cutlery. There's already, and there's also disposable cutlery, but biodegradable. So when we say lunch and food, it's purely just that.
Okay.
I will use my mic because
Yeah. Wait, hold up. I'm gonna mute and turn.
Simmer's comment, just so everyone, I know everyone is not on Zoom, but she says for prizes, she suggests reaching out for in-kind items. Lots of local companies might be inclined to donate gift cards, prizes. Our comment would also align with VP events, just the food budget being a bit higher than the usual for a 1-day, 120 student event. Especially if it's just 3 prizes, I think closer to $50 to $70 price per prize would be more feasible. That's PP Finance comment. And I just wanted to add, or I have a clarifying question. So this is coming to exec as an appeal. So was there, maybe for Cinder actually, was there any amount that was already approved? And then second question is, where would this be coming out of? Would it be coming out of still the club's budget, like MSC's budget, or would it be coming out from ours?
Yeah, so I can speak to that in 2 pieces. So from the funding guidelines perspective, you asked for $600 for staff and security. And as per the guidelines, that's fully granted. And in terms of decor, we said 100, 50 is being granted. For prizes, 500, we're granting 50. T-shirts and hoodies, 600, we're granting 500. AV, 200, we're granting the full 200. Posters, 150, granting the full 150. As per the funding guidelines, catering, I think you're saying you decreased it to 4,800, right? Because yeah, what we have is 5,600, but we can only go up to a max of 500 per day as per our funding guidelines. So that came to a total of 2,050. So that's what the approval was.
2,050.
Yeah.
Okay. And is that what's being requested be approved today?
So no.
That's already been approved.
That's already been approved.
That's what's been approved.
Okay.
So now in terms of the next steps, there's multiple ways to go about this. Technically, according to our policies, an appeal would go to FASC, and FASC would kind of do the final appeal. Or it goes to council for a top-up. So we've been doing a different process before where we just kind of allocate or approve the appeal as a whole through 5,000G. Something that I know some of the execs and I, and VP Finance in particular, and I have been talking about is following the council policy in terms of, the MSGP policy in terms of council top-up. So that means that what I'm recommending is keeping that 2,050 as the approved, and anything in addition to that or the difference that you're asking be considered by execs or council.
To come from the top up.
Come from the top up, right? Yeah. I mean, you can.
Have we currently used that already? I don't.
This would be the first time we're using that, and the reason for this is because of the over expenditure through council alone on a departmental budget.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah.
A few points there. One thing though, because really the appeals don't usually come to exec, but as Sam said, it's coming here in place of council, is that line item was intended for council to be able to make the appeal. So in the notes in the budget, it does say restricted for use by council majority vote, which is just a suggestion. That's not in a policy.
Right.
That was just to clarify the intention.
Okay. I saw a couple of ends, but I'll echo VP Finance comment again. She's suggesting that money could be saved with posters. She thinks 150 is too much on posters, and there are cheaper options.
Sorry, ignore that one. I think Tiffany already replied to that, saying that they removed it from their revised budget.
Okay.
The food cap is just the main comment. That's just more of a point of order. With one-day events, usually with how our policy goes, I think it's usually a 500-day food cap on one-day events. But again, like, you guys are serving twice, and we can discuss that further as well.
Okay. Thanks, Simmer. Did you want to add something, Sam?
I did.
I saw two ends.
I think we should have a longer conversation around the council top-up, as the amount of money in it based on grant approvals gives a very small amount. And as much as I'd rather not see our council become a gladiatorial arena over making it seem like 1 or 2 grants can only be approved from that one.
So remember, these are appeals. So technically, not every single grant is supposed to be an appeal because grants are approved based on the funding guideline.
Correct.
So they really shouldn't be coming to council anyway, because
unless like extreme conditions.
That's the process is that you're applying for a grant to help subsidize an event, not to cover an event, not to help facilitate the event. So it's supposed to be approved based on the funding guidelines, which council agreed to. Council's more than welcome to change those guidelines so that the coordinator is able to approve a certain amount. The only reason it would come to council is to approve the already approved grant that's over a certain threshold. So the reason why that top up was even approved at that level, because that line item was $100 before it changed to 10,000, is so council can be accountable to the amount that council was approving on behalf of the coordinator and of that line item, and to track that. And it wouldn't be for the whole grant, it would be for the difference, a top up.
Henry, go ahead.
So I just want to seek clarification. So since we got 2,050 approved, since we will meet Tiffany today at exec, are we going to seek the rest of 2,950? Is that?
Yeah, so I do apologize because this is like we're using your group as an example to decide how exec wants to approve. So either the options are to approve the grant in its entirety, so the approved amounts like waived and this is just the total amount that's being approved through exec from the 5,000 G line item, or to keep your approved amount and then choose another line item to get the top up from.
I see. So there's many different options to go through.
And the finalized amount too is still up to execs.
Sorry, I just want to confirm one thing. The $2,000 is what would come out of 5,000 G, and then the remainder 3,000 out of the full 10,000 council budget is what we're looking at for the top up, right? Like 3,000 out of 10,000.
Correct.
Either that or we approve it all from 5,000 G as an exec and the grant is waived off.
Okay.
Oh, we're not doing that.
I'm just telling you what's the option.
Oh, yeah. But I think, probably the first option is probably the most realistic one.
I do not think the first option is usable, especially for the Frosh grants, because there's multiple and there's only 10,000 allocated to that.
Right.
Although these events are always historically approved at council from 5,000 G as an whole, and grant is always waived off.
I have to agree with Chitranj on this one. If we that I think we should use the council top up. That was my disagreement about the size of the council top up, was to increase the size for specific historic events, that because we've had a pretty amenable council so far. If we start axing headliner events, I assure you we won't have that same support from either the arts or the sciences or the computer science student union. As someone who's worked very closely with them in the past, there is a history of those particular ones overriding executive when executive
I don't think that's
does
a
that stay.
prescription.
Right.
But
I mean,
Yeah, we get the point.
but
so I will let you speak in a sec, but so are you saying we take the full grant from the council expenditure line item?
We take the full grant from 5,000 G is what we say.
what I'm
And 5,000 G is the club's
5,000 G is MSC's
MSC's budget. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so I mean, if that's what we're gonna do, that's totally fine, but maybe we can create a matrix for, like you said, Frosh events typically do need more funding.
Yep.
So maybe for all Frosh events that do have an appeal, we take it from 5,000 G. And then maybe going forward, if there is a special top up for the appeals, that goes through the expenditures. Is that?
what I'd be saying is probably what I want to see happen is for 5,000. I don't think we should approve the full amount of this grant. I have significant issues with the posters and size of the food budget. I think for the Frosh grants, especially with how the CSSS one was already approved through 5,000 G, that is what we should continue to do for those ones. I think for next year, we should create a specific guideline for Frosh grants. So that doesn't need to come to us in the same way, because these ones are particular. And then use the decreases in funding, not fully approving it, to put both SAS, SUS, and CSSS on notice that they won't be getting as much in funding, and to not expect as favorable grant appeals for later large-scale motions that'll come up that I also believe are spent too much, taken off from.
Well, we've already tightened their scrutinizing at this point of the year, so I don't think they feel like they're getting as much as they want anyway. So I feel like at this point we just need to, for Frosh events, at some point there needs to be a new guideline, but at this point it's just approving it from 5,000 G as we said it.
So I see your list. You go in a sec. And so I'm guessing, are we able to, since their recommended was the 2,050 from that line item, could we make a different call?
Yeah, so then this would be the appeal, and whatever amount you approve is the final amount, but exec can only approve up to 5,000.
Okay.
And then that would be the final amount. So instead of that grant that was given, it would be the amount that's mentioned here.
Can we approve grants subject to more information?
I mean, yeah, I mean, that's up to the execs.
Like if we want to be like, you want to work on the food and get back to us, and then we'll give you the actual money out. But right now it's a broken principle.
I wouldn't recommend that.
No, you could add a be a resolve clause if it's very specific in what you're looking for.
In practical purposes, what I do is postpone it this week and take it up again at the next exec and wait for more information.
Are we having next exec?
That's fine. Simmer, go ahead.
I just want to kind of bring a point to just like emphasize that when we were talking kind of with Sam about approving this appeal and going through with the full amount, I'm just a little more opposed to that just because when I was looking through the CSSS budget, not to compare clubs, of course, but just as a general understanding of like how much money is being spent, it was nearly $8,000 for a 5-6 day event. That's why I'm more concerned about spending nearly $5,000 on just a 1 day event, because I feel like it doesn't seem as justified with the amount of activities going on, with the amount that is being spent. And again, the main portion of that does come from the food costs, which again, we can work on being lowered, but that's just my original like concern, as with Sam, like maybe not approving the entire full amount still.
Yeah. Simmer, I think you bring up a good point, but I will move on with the agenda, and when we get to the motion, I think we could talk about that more clearly. But again, thank you guys for presenting, and we will talk about this more as an executive, and at the end of it, we'll let you guys know what our decision is.
But do I stay or do
No, you're good to go, because we're gonna move on with our agenda, and I don't think you want to sit in through that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tiffany.
Thank you.
Okay. Any report from management?
No, I'll just speak on behalf of HRP. As you know, we're working on a few policies, or personnel policy in particular. There's a few pieces that came to note to Joint Health and Safety Committee that may impact a lot of the pieces of our personnel policy, which includes like hybrid and remote work, which was never included. So particularly the on-campus coordinator is helping me build something there so that we have that policy in place, which will then therefore impact on a big chunk of our personnel policy. So it's just a project that's undergoing right now.
Okay. Execs, any updates?
Nothing.
Anything pressing that, because Cindy was also there at staff meeting yesterday, so anything that wasn't mentioned yesterday that needs to be mentioned again? I don't see anything. I will move on. I'll do the new business items and then we'll move on to discussions. All right, this was the one you amended. Okay. 9.1 SUS grant approval, whereas science undergraduate students apply for a grant towards their Science Week of Welcome event on September 14th and 17th to 20, requesting $8,025.30, whereas SUS is eligible for $3,278.30 based on the funding guideline. Be resolved to approve SUS grants number 2056 for $3,278.30 from 5,000 G. I move. I need a seconder.
Internals.
Event second. Floor is open for list and discussions.
Sorry, the mic's cutting out a bit. Whose group's grant? This was just the Fast Fest, right, that we're talking about?
No. This is SUS. It's on the agenda as well.
Okay, sorry, the mic was just cutting out. Just open up the agenda instead.
Yeah, so this is one that you've already approved. So this is an approved grant. It's just over the threshold of what we can approve.
Oh yeah, perfect. Okay, sorry. Yeah,
it's coming to accept.
No comments then.
Okay, sounds good. Go ahead.
With this one, because above the threshold, if we approve it, I'd want to decision here is if this is like a final approval decision for council, not within the bounds of policy, but within the bounds of what the exec committee will support for whether or not, if we say that this is what we're going to do, this is the max that we're willing to go for this one. I think it's the ongoing discussion that we have been happening with both CSSS and with all three of them. But I think I might have been a bit. Never mind. I think I confused.
Yeah. Grant appeal that we are passing. For the appeal study with past and PASC, but PASC is not sitting.
PASC said this one.
So why was it not passing PASC?
This isn't an appeal. This is just an approval because it's over $3,000. So Simmer, Emmanuel and I can approved it offline, but because of that financial threshold, it comes to exec. If it was a grant that was over 5,000 that we agreed should be approved, it would still go to council. So that group can still appeal that. Correct. So if they're uncomfortable with that and they want the full amount or something, they can come back to exec class or council.
So should it have been gone in the past?
But this isn't an appeal.
Correct.
It's just an approval.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like they could do a SAS day today, but they haven't officially.
They might still they might still come back, and in which case then they will go to fast court council.
So this is funding guidelines that's been looked at by MSC, and we are just approving it because it's above the threshold.
Yeah. I was gonna ask, what's the breakdown for this one? What's the cost breakdown?
Yeah, so they requested 8,025. For their merchandise, their venue is 450. We're giving them the 450 for merch. 3,130. We're giving them 500. Art supplies 83. We're giving them that. I think their food. Oh wait, they asked for tug of war rope, which we're giving them. Supplies, I think we're fully covering all of that. They asked for contingency 727. We don't cover that. Yeah, and then they had $300 for snacks and stuff, and we're capping it at 500. I think they also, they asked 1,300 for food, I believe. No, sorry. Yep, 1,040 for food, and we're giving them 500.
So at some point they're going to give it for food, definitely. But for now, we're just approving the amount. So MSA can convey to them that their grant has been approved at some amount.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then if they appeal, then they appeal.
Another list or comments? Okay, seeing none, I will seek unanimous consent for this. If you wish to abstain or dissent, please signify. Seeing none, motion is carried unanimously. Moving on to 9.2, exec retreat, whereas the executives are going to retreat to recuperate from a busy summer and prepare for the fall semester. Whereas during the trip, executive will purchase food and gas. Be resolved to approve the amount of up to $2,000 from the line item 814/20. I move. I need a second. Then second, floor is open for list and amendment comments. Seeing none, I'm going to take this to a vote. Seek unanimous consent. If you wish to abstain or dissent, please signify. Seeing none, motion is carried unanimously. I believe there are some amendments of motions. So I'm going to go back. Communications media kit. Whereas our society produces multiple forms of photos and video content to promote our services and events, whereas we do not currently have an equipment to produce this media, we resolve to pass up to $1,200 from the communications line item to purchase equipment like a camera, mics, etc. I move. I need a seconder.
Whose submission is this?
Chloe on your behalf.
Thank you. Yeah.
I need a seconder. Event second. Floor is open for list and discussions. Cindy?
Was this brought up with the comms coordinator?
I don't think so.
Because technically, since it's a departmental budget, they can just purchase it on their own
Without a motion?
Yeah,
Yeah.
to a
Yeah,
certain.
I don't think we need a motion. I think we just need to be like, okay, we think we need this, and
They could just
the
do it?
comms coordinator can go ahead and get it approved from Sindhu and purchase it, right?
Okay, I will move to strike this off the agenda. I need a second. Internal second. Anyone opposed?
I have one follow-up. It's Chloe on there.
On this same
Yeah,
motion?
yeah,
Oh, yeah, Chloe's on.
Chloe, just a quick question. Was this especially related to the video that needs to be produced by Wednesday for Welcome Day?
Are you asking if I have like specific equipment in mind?
No, like, is there anything that we really need?
Like, was the equipment you wanted to get?
For the retreat?
For like the video that needs
The
to be
video
shot
you-
for the Welcome Day?
No, I mean, we can do that with our phones. Like, we don't have to have it right now. But I thought that if I did have the chance to go get something this weekend before we left, that it would be included in like a broader media kit for like the society as a whole.
Yeah, if you think there's something that is needed, I would suggest purchasing it on our credit cards for now, and then we can take a look if we need it and approve it at a later date.
Yeah, I can do that this weekend.
That's great.
Okay.
Cool.
Anyone opposed to me striking this off? Okay, seeing none, that's carried unanimously. I believe there was another motion.
Which is mine.
Was there another one?
Yeah, for my docking station.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
That was the one I sent to your Gmail.
Okay, docking station for VP events, whereas VP events requires a docking station to facilitate their work and is not comfortable using Windows in the office, whereas the purchase of this equipment is necessary to improve work efficiency and comfort. Be resolved to approve up to $100 from the office supplies line of 720/20. I move. I need a second. Internal second. And floors over for list and discussions. Seeing none, gonna seek unanimous consent. If you wish to abstain or dissent, please signify. Seeing none, motion is carried unanimously. Excuse me. Okay, I think that is all for motions. I didn't miss any.
Do we want to put the SAS grant appeal and then strike it?
It was, oh yeah, you did amend that on.
Yes, I did.
Where is it?
That one is also with the other one in
in chat.
in your Gmail chat.
Yeah. And then the other motion reads, whereas grant number 2053 was approved for 2050, whereas SAS appealed the grant to the executive committee, be resolved to approve up to X in grant funding from line item X. I move, and the second. Internal second. Floor is open for list and discussions. So we're postponing this one? Okay.
Can I just make a general comment about how I feel about the grant for FAST?
Yeah, of course, go ahead.
I just think $5,000 is a lot for an 8-hour event. As I said before, SFSS is doing a 5-6 day event with an overnight portion with the similar budget. And they have like that even lesser budget for food because they're sticking with the $500 a day cap that we give in our policy. And then if it comes to the fact that it feels like favoritism because that was brought up previously in like other meetings that they might feel like SFSS is getting certain money that other people aren't. The length of the event is different, and not only that, but SFSS's first grant was denied by me. Actually, it was a board night. I just think we really need to work on cutting down this stuff. We have a budgeted for a deficit grant line item of 150K for the budget. Last year we spent 175K, and it starts off this way by just kind of approving everything just because they appeal it, and that sets precedent that like, oh hey, like if we don't accept it the first time, just appeal it and then we'll give you money next time. Like I just don't think that's a good thing. And 150 again is budgeted for a deficit, which we're planning on trying to at least get that to balance a little bit. So I'm not even planning on spending 150 on that. I guess that's just my point. I think there was another group, I think it was SUS, who's also doing more than a day event. And we only gave them $3,000 for, I feel like it was at least multiple days from what I remember. So yeah, again, I just think 5,000 for an 8-hour event's not justified in any way.
I mean, yeah, I think you bring up valid points. The scale is different, the scope is different. So, sorry.
Table the discussion for the next one. But I suppose we should postpone it for now.
Are we on the actual? We're on the actual motion now.
Yeah, but
We're on the postponement, I think.
So the question
So,
is,
Simmer, what do you recommend?
Are we not allowed to just deny the appeal? Like, I don't know if
No,
that's a
you-
stupid
you are.
question.
You are. Yeah,
Why can't we just do that?
we could. That's why I'm asking. What's your opinion? I guess your opinion is-
That's my opinion. I think I'd
Okay.
rather just deny the appeal.
okay. Cindy, you had a point.
No, I think Summer covered it. Like it was actually the budget was 1,000, like 100,000, and we changed it to 150 just because we were overspending continuously. And technically, we would then budget for 175
Yeah.
because we're overspending. And also, Summer raised a good point because even for the other group, like $1,000 of that was contingency, so really
Right.
it would have been 7,000 for
Right.
the event. But yes, we can table this.
Yeah. I don't see a point tabling it if there's already an executive opinion on it. I don't see a point.
I personally think I need more
Sure.
information to make a decision on this.
Chloe,
Yes,
what are your thoughts?
on denying the grant.
Denying the appeal, so they would
Denying-
still get like $2,000. They
And
wouldn't get the remainder appeal of the 3,000 extra on top of that.
I mean, I'm not a huge fan of approving appeals like this in exec anyways. I understand that they didn't have time to bring it to council. But then again, I think that like each DSU and like especially like SAS because it's so big, like I don't mind spending the extra money there because I think that's like the main thing that they do all year. So I feel like denying it would be kind of tough. And I think that Sam was right that like, you know, if we like shit all over their projects, like they're not going to be a very like fun council to work with. So it's kind of hard. Although like, yeah, $3,000 difference is quite large in what they're expecting to get.
list.
Go ahead.
I think we should deal with it today. I think, but what I could see is doing like you said that, Simmer, did you say that CSSS followed the 500 a day?
So in their original, let me just pull up because I know originally we suggested that from their 8,000 they do 5,000, I believe it was. I'm just pulling up the grant 1 second, just because of the funding guidelines. But overall, their food cost wasn't as much relatively. It was pretty justifiable even after they appealed it. $4,800 again for 2 meals for 120 people just is a very, very high food cost from what we've seen. Like, is there any way that if we don't completely deny the appeal and find a middle ground of maybe raising it to $3,000 to $3,500 and like And that would be a compromise because I just think the food cost is kind of like outrageous.
Yes, the middle ground option is on the table, yes. Cindy?
Yeah, I would just like to remind folks that this is Frosh, so whatever you decide, like, keep that in mind, and we would have to apply that across the board for any other Frosh.
I think we should postpone it and wait for the grant appeal to go through MSC first.
Wait, sorry, I didn't hear that. Why should we postpone it?
He said it should go through MSC first. Does MSC deal with the appeals?
Usually the appeals go to them and then they
recommend it.
Right, it's gonna come to us regardless.
It's that we're the final step anyway, because there's no council meeting.
But MSC can't do anything about it. It's gonna come back to us.
Yeah.
And what I about this.
Go ahead.
For grants of this nature, I'd say while MSC does know a lot of it and can provide comments, there aren't comments that Cindy can't also provide as someone who has spoken on a instance of these grants.
Yeah, I don't think that's a justifiable reason to postpone it, but I do think we should postpone it because we don't have, I would say, a majority of the executive opinion. There are two people of us that are away, and that's the only reason I'm open to postponing it to next Friday.
Or we change it to 3,500, which I think is a good number for that.
I'd still like to discuss it, I guess, first with the other execs, because again, there's a couple of us missing.
So you think I should postpone it to next Friday?
When is the Frosh event again? Because then, is that leaving them with too little time?
No, I think that's fine.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'd rather propose to postpone it. Again, me personally, I still think that I would rather not accept the appeal at all, but if we all feel like we should accept it to a certain extent, we can find a middle ground. As Sindhu mentioned, this is setting precedent once again. Not only is it Frosh Week, but the rest of the year. Like, it's only September. So that's why I just want to be kind of more stubborn on this part.
Yeah, totally understand. With that said, I will postpone this to next Friday, just so we could get more executive opinions represented, as opposed to just us 4, 5, whatever it is. Okay, I'm gonna move to postpone. I need a second. Internal seconds. Anyone opposed? Okay, seeing none, that is postponed to next next Friday. Before then, I will encourage exec to do their research and come with the executive opinion, so we can actually make a decision on this. Okay. Next thing is discussion item. First one is AGM. Some of the concern I wanted to raise was kind of resolved this morning.
Through AGM discussions without me.
Well, not necessarily discussions, but
email.
But there was a concern based on our policy that talks about the timeline we're supposed to inform our membership and council, and because of us canceling our next council, that kind of makes us short of the timeline because our next one is September 4th. But as discussed at FAST this morning, we will have to call an emergency meeting on the 28th of August because there's a contract that needs to be approved by the board of directors, which is council. And because of that, we will need an emergency meeting on the 28th, which gives us the time to also announce the AGM, which keeps us in line with the policy. That was what I wanted to talk about. But are there any other comments with regard to AGM? But that was the main thing I wanted to cover.
Yeah. Proposed date?
Yes.
October 30th makes sense to me. That would put it right around the proper timeline. That makes sense. I'll try to get everything out. My AVPs are quite busy, so that will be take a bit, and then I'll call members meeting planning for after that. But
yeah, that sounds like a good day to me.
Could I just ask a question quickly?
Yes.
How long is the AGM? Like, what time is it usually from? Does it go till like late night, or is it like a 9 to 5 within that kind of thing?
I believe that date is a Wednesday and it's a council day. Council will probably be canceled, and the AGM would be the substitute. From what I've seen, it's usually in the evening, but I don't know what the proposed time is, or if there's a time.
Yeah, it would normally be pretty much to replace a council meeting 5:30 to 8:30, about optimistically around 3 hours. Within this current one, the other piece that we're starting to think about is campaigns, which would heavily involve your office, myself, Chloe's office, and Emmanuel's, but would expect kickoff-like support from everyone for sharing information about it.
Yeah, so summer would be roughly around 3 hours, probably around 5:30.
Okay.
3 hours from that. I think that's a good time because I think most lectures actually finish by 5:20, which is good. Yeah. Is there anything else regarding that? That was most of my points with AGM. Okay, I will move on to the next one. This one I wanted UAA, but he's not here, so I don't know if anyone has update on this, but I'm gonna guess not because that's something he's working on. But do you have any update on the town hall and the possibility of working with those two groups? I told him to work on that, but I don't know if you have updates.
I haven't heard, but I think those groups are still interested in collaborating. So.
Okay, is that a list? Yeah, go ahead.
What are the groups?
Just like SFPERG and BARC, and then we would reach out to any other like affiliated groups if they were interested.
I'm just gonna assume no one else knows about this, and I'll probably postpone it to next meeting when UAA is present. Okay, moving on. Campaign plans. I just wanted to check in. I know we have two massive things coming up, and I wanted to see where those things are at. One of them is the health and dental plan one, and then also the general fee increase. Has there been any work being done on those two?
Should that be in cap?
Yeah, I think we could do that in cap. Yeah, we could do that in cap.
Is that the last motion or last discussion?
I think so. There was one submitted, but I think that was reshoes with which we did first. Let me just check the chat again. Yeah, I think that was the last one. I could move this in camp. Okay. Be resolved to go in camera for the remainder of the meeting. I move. I need a second. Internal seconds. Anyone opposed? Okay, seeing none. That's carried unanimously. Thank you. I think the rest of the meeting would be in camp, so Cindy could just let you know. Thank you. I will pause the recording.